Hey folks, sorry about before. There was some technical difficulties first with my brother, but it is what it is. But as I think everyone's gotten by this point, breaking news: Drake Bell, best known for his time on the Amanda Show, the Ultimate Spider-Man on Disney XD, and of course Drake and Josh, has been sentenced to 2 years probation for child endangerment for a girl that he first groomed when she was as young as 12 years old, and then when she was 15, he started sending, and I think might even been doing some stuff suggestively, if you catch my drift. And now the dude is going to be facing 2 years probation. Right now, currently, he's been doing his shows in Mexico. Last time I checked on his Twitter bio, he said he was in Palo Alto, Brazil, which is pretty crazy. And honestly, it's very heartbreaking. It's very sad. It's very disappointing. It's very disgusting. Drake Bell, along with many other live action Nickelodeon stars that I remember growing up with, like Miranda Cosgrove and of course Josh Peck, Nathan Kress, many others. Those are the ones that come to mind. Even though I loved a lot of the live action shows, the one I've always loved the most has always been Drake and Josh. What made that show great was a dynamic between him and Josh Peck because of their time on the Amanda Show together. And, that show was very successful. And even when the series ended, they decided to finish it off with a TV movie about Christmas, which was also really great. The show still is very, very timeless. While a show like, iCarly is very big and very influential and something that was known for being a pioneer for introducing people to internet landscape of the internet culture, the thing that made Drake and Josh very special was that it was a very timeless series. It was a story about two teenage boys that become stepbrothers after their mother and father get married. And they become roommates, and they begin to get an old bond, and they realize that they can't live without each other. That was the whole story. That these total strangers who were very different, one very street smart, one very book smart, came together and became to be better people because of it. Because even though they may have had mistakes, they always had each other to thank one another. And that was the show, and it was very successful. Josh, of course, is going to be in the new Turner and Hooch series on Disney Plus. And as for Drake, well, he did play Spider-Man, but most people also have been knowing him recently for his musical career and how he's been much more successful in Mexico and Brazil and the other Central or South American countries for his music as opposed to America, where he hasn't really found as much work or as much success. Now, there's a lot of issues with Drake Bell as an individual. You see, even in the show, he was seen as the more rebellious, defiant, street smart kind of kid that always just wanted to care about his music and his guitar. And that was something that's the sense here, whereas Drake, the sad thing is that he didn't seem to really care that much about how the other people were, because there have been stories of his ex-girlfriends in the past that have said he has allegedly, from several people, has abused. Now, granted, this is just a whole he said, she said sort of situation. But at the same time, considering the charges against him right now, it's not really that shocking, especially considering that he does seem to like younger women. Much, much, much younger women. And it's not shocking that a guy that has had several DUIs, someone that has actually filed for bankruptcy, someone that has made a lot of money off of doing cameo videos, has basically been doing this. It's not very shocking. And honestly, it is a very sad situation. Very sad that someone that I grew up loving, grew up really watching, was someone like this. And I'm not that shocked. I mean, we all about the story about a lot of these, child actors that after they become adults, things aren't very successful. I mean, look at Corey Feldman and Corey Hines, I think his name was. Like the two Coreys, like one of them died of later pneumonia. There was a lot of issues with them afterwards. I mean, you're not always gonna have like a Saoirse Ronan or a Drew Barrymore situation or a Kenan Thompson situation, who have been successful when they were children but continue to be successful. There are many instances of people where they are successful early on and then their life just kind of takes a toll because they didn't really have a chance of a real childhood. I mean, people were saying that for Miley Cyrus even during 2013. Now she's kind of turned her life around and she's still been very successful. But there was a lot of concern at the point because we had issues with Amanda Bynes. You had issues with Lindsay Lohan. You had issues with the Olsen twins. And now their sister, Elizabeth, has been the most successful out of all of them because of her time as Scarlet Witch, Wanda Maximoff in the MCU. And with Drake, many people saw Drake along with Miranda Cosgrove as like, for the 2000s, these are going to be the two that stay their popularity. They stay the test of time. And it's pretty interesting that the one that did out of all of this was Ariana Grande, who was, if anything, she was she was part of the main cast of Victorious, but she was never the main star. She was a side character. And similar situation here from Drake and Josh, like the one who was more successful out of them was Miranda Cosgrove. And even then, she hasn't been really that big outside of her time at iCarly. I mean, Josh Peck is doing better, but Drake Bell is still decently well known, but he's struggled to get some acting roles. I mean, you had Kyle Massey just recently. He just got arrested for might even greater charges. So Corey's going from the White House to the big house, the jailhouse, the jail cell, and it's very sad. Like a lot of these kids didn't really have really general childhoods. They still feel like they kind of need to rise from their times. It's like the addition of a high school peaker. Those high school peaker kind of people. Those individuals that act very big and they're very popular in high school, like they're the star of their football team or their basketball team. But then as they get older, you can see that they're kind of burned out. They've had failed relationships. They haven't really found wealth in life. They've been working a 9-to-5 job at some fast food place. They have not been very successful. It's sort of similar like that when it comes to child stars, I find, because like a lot of them still need to like live off of their past reputation, their past popularity, because that's kind of how most people see them as. And that was the issue that Jeanette McCurdy had, the fact that people saw her as that, and that's why she eventually left acting, and she's doing well with podcast work. And with Drake Bell, I mean, he's still acting, he's still doing that other stuff. It's definitely gonna be on hold now. I mean, but he's still doing his music, but I mean, 2 years probation, man, there's something wrong with you. I mean, it's one thing to live off of your past time as a child actor, as a teen idol, but to still be having an interest in those same age groups is kind of weird, and it's not exactly something that most people generally tolerate or truly understand. I think Drake definitely needs help. But at the same time, I do worry that, is he at a point of no return? I mean, he also does have a significant other. He has had a kid. He's like 2 or 3 years old now. In case, yeah, that's actually true. I did find this out recently that he was photographed with both of them at Disneyland in California. I'm not really sure if he can go back to California right now because, it's probation. So I guess house arrest. You're not going to see him. And if there's ever a Drake and Josh like revival, it's not going to happen until many years down the line. I mean, Drake needs to clean his act up. Josh doing okay, but Jerry Trainer's busy. Miranda Cosgrove's busy. Who knows how things are going to go? But if I'm being honest, that's irrelevant. What is relevant right now is that this girl that was groomed for several years as a very young teen by Drake Bell, hopefully her family is healthy now. Hopefully she doesn't have to think about this anymore. Hopefully she can live a very normal life. The idea of feeling that you were very vulnerable by someone who thought he was untouchable, even though someone that is very flawed as an individual like Drake Bell that has had many, many instances, still, even then, it's still someone who's famous. It's still someone that has money. It's still someone that has, some say. It's also someone that has 4.5 million followers on Twitter that it sells concerts in Mexico and like other places in Central America. So it's not exactly like small potatoes, even though he has not been as big as in America. But still, I'm very sad for the families of the ex-girlfriends he abused. I'm very sorry for the family of the girl that he groomed and, sexually harassed and assaulted. I don't know about assaulted, but definitely sent some disparaging images, as if it was with her consent. I mean, don't do that until she's 18. But Drake, you did that when she was 6 years younger than that. I mean, it's not like you don't have success, man. You've been in the industry for a long time. Your cousin Heath was a successful pitcher in the majors. He pitched for the Padres. He got a few All-Star nods and a Relief Man of the Year award, once or twice. It's not like you don't have success in your life. It's not exactly like you don't have success in your own family. You have it. You have people. You have a support system. How did he get probation? Well, what happened? I think he cut a deal. What's weird is that I'm kind of shocked too. Now, one answer could be the money, and maybe that's the case. I don't really know much about the details of this. It's not like the Bill Cosby one, which I actually know the details. I think it's because he worked out a deal. I think he settled this with the family to like pay probation. But this is hurting. This is like torpedoed his reputation. Now, granted, it already wasn't that great ahead of time, but man, now he's gonna be seen as like a predator, a child molester. I mean, he's not gonna get registered as like a sex offender like how Jared Fogle is, but his life is never gonna be the same again. Like that, unless he turns his life around, he's always gonna have that reputation on him until the day that he dies. It's as simple as that. I know it may be hard to say for some, but that's just the truth of the matter. He needs to start dating people his own age. He's already dating someone his own age. There's no reason why he should date someone that's younger than that, especially someone that at one point was as old as him. Just because you're living in the past, living like you were young, doesn't mean you should still date people that are young. I mean, this is not right, dude. You know better. You have fans all across the globe that look up to you and aspire to be you. They loved they loved your music. They loved you as an actor. They grew up with you. And do this like this is not just a stain on your legacy, and it's not just a stain on your image. It's not just a stain on the show or the network or the company or anything else like that. It's a stain on what people grew up with. And now, obviously, there's always stuff behind the scenes we don't know about. But this definitely puts a new perspective on you. And it kind of does shine light on how Dan Schneider, as great, as wonderful as he was with making all these shows, he definitely is one of the most important people in the history of the channel. But at the same time, he had some issues too. And I would not be shocked if some of that behavior carried over to Drake. I would not be shocked. I mean, there's some that haven't, but still, you just hate to see it. You just hate to see it for someone like that. I mean, with all the stuff going on in Cuba right now, Texas right now, America right now, the last thing we need is something like this. And I don't care if you grew up with Drake Bell, you're someone that's just watching this that don't even heard of him, or you're someone that has had kids that grew up watching his content, whether that be Spider-Man or his Drake Parker. The fact of the matter is he touched many lives, and he also touched several girls too. But again, enough with the young kids, man. It's ridiculous. Maybe society could change for this, but either way, it's disgusting, man. You should know better. You embarrassed yourself. You've hurt your reputation, and once you completely turn it around, this is going to hurt your chances of ever getting acting roles in Hollywood for a very, very long time. But anyway, guys, it's a very sad story. It's something I don't really like to do that much. I would rather do stuff with sports. I should be talking about, the All-Star game and the home run derby, but if I'm being honest, that's just small potatoes compared to this right now. The finals, that's small potatoes. Euro Cup, that's small potatoes. Those are just games. This is someone endangering another human being. It's just not right. It should be condoned, and Drake should face consequences no matter how they are. He should pay up. He's going to get that money back. It's a blip on the radar. It's not going to matter. It's not going to faze him, but it's always going to affect this girl. Now, if she wanted it, that's different, but we've heard nothing about that. But still, it's troubling, and I find it way too often. But that's all I really need to say, guys. Make sure you hit like on this video if you haven't already. Subscribe to Zenny62. Hit the notification bell to get notified for new videos as soon as they come out. And as always, guys, I'll catch you guys later. And please, If you know someone that grew up with Drake Bell, please talk to them about it because they might be going through the same stuff that I am. And thanks again, guys. Have a great rest of your day. And let's enjoy the home run derby because we all need a distraction for something like this. I think we all really, really do. It's necessary.